Whilst Rise, Race the Future looks the part, the uninspired modes available, tricky difficulty spikes, lack of any online options and some other small niggles hold it back from being a true classic. Does that mean it's a game worth avoiding? Well, stick around and I'll reveal all in my review of Rise, Race the Future on the Nintendo Switch. The first thing you'll have to contend with upon loading Rise for the first time is the pretty bland and unintuitive menus. I have a big disdain for games that make you fight your way through to the fun bits, and getting through to a race in Rise is an exercise in frustration. It's unclear at times where you are in the menu or how you change some of the options. It's a minor niggle in the grand scheme of things, but it's something I felt bad enough to mention. When you do find your way around the menus, you'll find a pretty bare bones offering with just Championship mode, a challenge mode and time trials. The Championship mode tasks you with running through a decent series of multiple races with points awarded for finishing places. Completing these races unlocks tracks for time trials, so it's definitely worth playing through them. The challenge mode, however, is more focused on completing differing tasks in race situations rather than finishing places, and will see you awarded medals for completing tasks like finishing laps within a certain amount of time, finishing without using any boosts, or finishing in front of rival cars. I found this mode really frustrating and still haven't actually beaten the lap time for the second challenge in the game, which just showed you how quickly the difficulty ramps up. Thankfully, you can attempt any of the 10 open challenges per season at any time in an effort to unlock the next season, and with it, more cars for your garage. I'll talk more about the difficulty in a little bit, but in these challenges, basically if you make a single mistake, you just may as well write the race off and restart it, which becomes a bit of a chore. So far, not so good. It should be said at this point though that the game has released at £16 and $16.49, so I'm probably being overly harsh on some of the things in what is basically a budget title created by a very small team of developers, which at some points was just a sole coder and a graphic artist. Thankfully, when you do get out onto the track, this is where the game absolutely blossoms and any minor niggles are easily forgotten, because Rise Race the Future may just be in contention for the best arcade racing game the Switch has to offer. Graphics are crisp and bright with an impressive array of lighting and effects, such as the cars gradually collecting mud and dirt as they slide around the soggy tracks, and water drops that splash up and persist on the screen as other cars and rain cover you in water. The frame rate remaining a more or less rock solid 30 frames is the takeaway here. It's really impressive and something that many other racers on the Switch have failed to achieve. The differing styles of track are similarly impressive, from boggy swamps to blistering deserts, and suit the rally stylings really well. The unique feature that separates this from pretty much every other racing game in its class is the transition into water-based vehicles. Tracks can have bodies of water that, once driven onto, allow the cars to instantly transform into hovercraft type vehicles, also changing the feel of the handling and allowing for some sweeping drifting. It's a really clever system, and I love how the tyres flick up and down depending on the surface they drive over. I'll be honest, I wanted to see more of this. Some tracks barely have any water, and whilst I'm sure it was a tough balancing act of making sure tracks didn't overuse this gimmick, it's so much fun and such a unique idea that I'd love to have seen it integrated more somehow. Handling is generally on the good side of fine. I'd put it somewhere between Xenon Racer and Gear Club Unlimited. It's responsive enough and drifting can feel great when you nail a good corner, but every now and again the cars would seemingly oversteer at the slightest turn, putting you on a locked collision course with a barrier. It didn't happen too often thankfully, but it was still enough to say that the handling isn't quite perfect. The AI of the 7 other cars is also generally okay and serves its purpose of providing a feeling of racing against other drivers. Frustratingly though, sometimes the AI cars would clip the back quarter of your car, putting you in a near unavoidable spin. If you do spin out or clip some scenery, you can pretty much forget about catching up with the rest of the pack, which probably needs addressing at some point in the future. One other gameplay innovation I want to touch on is the ability to choose how your boost refills. You can choose to have it refill when you're driving over 125 km per hour, refill when drifting, or just have a system of 3 set boosts per lap. I thought this was a brilliant idea and actually brings some strategy into your race setup, as tracks with long straights are probably suited to the first method, but twisty tracks where you can drift a lot would probably benefit from the second or third methods. I've never seen this done in any other racing game, and it was a really welcome inclusion. So before my final thoughts, I'd just like to mention the music, which is absolutely awful. Some very generic vanilla soft rock music, and it just doesn't suit the game at all and actually makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable when playing just how out of place it is. A really odd choice. Okay, so my closing thoughts on Rise Race the Future are that despite some frustratingly avoidable niggles, the racing is fun, fast and up there with something like Horizon Chase Turbo. Unique mechanics like the water-based sections and being able to choose your boost type are big pluses, and you'll be blown away by the look and performance of the game in both handheld and TV modes. There's also plenty to work towards unlocking here, with new tracks and cars available by working through the challenge and season modes, but the absolute lack of any multiplayer at all, either local or online, is a big missed opportunity to cement this game as best in class. I'd love to at least seen online leaderboards added for time trials at some point, but there's just nothing here. Overall, taking into consideration the lower price of entry and the technical qualities in the game, I'm going to award Rise Race the Future on the Nintendo Switch an 8 out of 10, which really is a testament to just how good the actual racing mechanics are. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this review, and I'll look forward to speaking to you on the next one. Thanks everybody, bye bye.